world will tremble before my genius, my power, my... Oh, for the love of science, stop grinning like that.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here with another interview, and today we have Meggie with us. Meggie is a voice actor, voiceover artist. But Meggie, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody and let them know your pronouns?
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Meggie-Elise, or you can call me Maggie. I go by she/her, and let's see. I I recently had the privilege of voicing in Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. I voiced AR-214 in Honkai Star Rail, as well as some NPCs in Genshin Impact. I voiced Fuchsia in Sternova, and honestly, just a whole bunch of little characters here and there.
I have looked at your IMDb. You have quite a few characters that you have voiced.
Yeah, too much to name.
Too much. So jumping right in here, did you always see yourself becoming a voiceover artist, or did you have any other career plans in mind that seemed more likely to come to fruition?
Yeah, so not a voice actor. I don't think I really knew that that was what I wanted to become. Probably not until I want to say my sophomore year in high school. Just because, like, I knew I always wanted to be some kind of performer, but I didn't really know anything about voice acting and that that was, like, an actual thing that you could do, probably until I started watching anime in high school, and I was like, "How that is so cool, how do people get into that?" And then I started doing some research, and I was like, "Okay." But yeah.
I love that. So were you like in like the drama club and everything in high school too?
So I did drama club for, like, a year, my freshman year in high school. Then after that, I kinda had to choose between drama and orchestra because I was playing violin for, like, 9 years or so at that point, and I was like, "I don't know, it's a really hard decision." And honestly, I should have gone with drama because I probably could have used those acting skills and techniques because I don't really play violin anymore.
That's so funny. I did both. I did both. I was in drama and
Oh, nice.
orchestra as well, but I also at the same time, for me, I'm a pianist, so I'm just playing piano. They had
Nice.
me doing that, or on the xylophone, marimba, the bell set.
Oh,
Depends
yeah.
on what they needed at that time, but like having to juggle both was always such a nightmare.
I know. I wish I could have done both. My high school was weird.
So was mine. Small town in Kentucky, graduating class of 100
Nice.
people.
Oh, wow.
Can't tell, is that short for a class or big?
For a small rural town in Kentucky, that's actually a large class because most smaller towns have under 70 normally where I was at.
Mm.
Dang, that's crazy.
Oh, I have to ask, what anime?
Ooh, actually, I believe the one that really, like, got me interested at the time was called Death Parade. It's really underrated, but it's super good.
Oh, Death Parade. Okay.
Yeah, Death Parade.
Ooh, it's a psychological thriller.
It's so good. The English dub is really good too. That's actually kinda what got me interested in voiceover. I was like, "Ooh, they sound really good."
Marking this to watch for later.
What inspires you, as in what media out there helps fuel your creative process?
Oh my gosh, so much. Honestly, I would say music is a huge part of it. Like, I am very I'm very in tune with music, if that makes sense. Like, I usually whenever I'm in a creative slump or I'm not really in the mood to, like, record anything and I need a little bit more, motivation, I guess you could say, that's where I'll, like, turn on some indie music or I'll turn on, just a favorite song or something or just listen to something new, and that'll really help me just, like, get into that creative swing of things. Also, just I like to scroll on Twitter and just look at comics and stuff and art, and I'll get really inspired by that too.
What are some of your favorite music artists?
Oh goodness. I for a long time it's been Imagine Dragons, and recently my spouse got me into Linkin Park, and they're both just super good. And then also, I've always been a huge fan of Broadway, so I love listening to Broadway music. And I really like listening to like video game instrumentals as well.
Oh yeah, there's some really good composers out there for video games.
Definitely.
So you mentioned Broadway. What's your favorite musical?
Oh, that's so hard. I have like I have maybe like top 3 musicals. I can't choose between them. But I would say so there's Dear Evan Hansen, there's Wicked, of course,
Mhm.
and then I think the other one is called Finding Neverland.
Ooh, did they actually turn that into a stage show?
They did. So my orchestra class actually went to go see it in California at the time that it was playing, but I don't know if they've like really played it anywhere else since then, or I don't know. But
Hmm.
yeah, it was when we went to see it, it was so good.
I'll have to look it up. But no, good choices. Dear Evan Hansen and Wicked are both great musicals. Mine are
Yeah.
Little Shop of Horrors, and I got the
Oh
stars Seymour, so that's all come to fruition. So I'm happy about that.
yeah.
Avenue
Dang.
Q, because I'm Schadenfreude, best song ever.
Yeah.
And then oh shoot, what was the third one? I don't know. I really like the Book of Mormon too.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
All right. So moving into the Poppy Playtime questions, can you share with us how you became involved with Chapter 4 and what drew you to the project?
Yeah. It's so funny actually. So they actually I believe they posted on the Mob Entertainment Twitter channel, I guess you could say, like early 2024 that they were looking for voice actors. And so I did submit my demo to that. And I feel like that's part of how I got into it. But I also had contact with the director, who wasn't actually the voice director at the time, but he ended up reaching out to me later in like 2024 and was like, "Hey, I have some sides for you for this really cool project. Do you want to be a part of it?" And I was like, "Heck yeah." And and so the thing is though is that during the actual recording session, I thought it was I thought the entire thing was an audition, but apparently I found out later, like during the session that this wasn't an audition and that this was actually like the legitimate recording session and that I was already in the game. And so I was like, "Oh, dang, like wow." So that was a complete surprise, but I always look back at that and I think that's like the funniest thing ever.
That's really cool though. You know, I also submitted my demo reel on that same post. I didn't get cast in anything, but
Nice.
that's okay because I'm manifesting. I really want to play the protagonist of the game. Like
Oh, that'd be so cool.
I want that more than anything, so I'm just like trying to manifest that for me. So it's not a letdown,
Please,
it's a not
Mom.
right now.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. I've never actually, yeah, that's so cool. I wonder if they will make the protagonist talk at some point.
Honestly, I don't know if they will because he's been silent this entire time, but I just in my head it would just like for the very ending of the game having him do a monologue or whoever this character is do a
Yeah.
monologue as its ending would be really great. I even wrote one that's akin
Dang.
to Shirley Jackson's The Haunting. How that
Ooh.
I think how it ends, it's kind of similar to that, and it I don't know. I think it's a great idea, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah. No, that'd be awesome. I was thinking the same thing for Kissy actually, like if they ever decided to make her talk.
Oh, you would be a great kissy. Just saying.
Oh. Thank you. I mean, that'd be amazing, but you never know.
So you voiced multiple characters in the game. How did you approach differentiating these characters vocally?
Yeah, so let's see. Scout, the little boogie bot by the safe haven door. She at the time in the recording session, they told me that she was like a big sister kind of character. So definitely, I think she's definitely a teenager. So I wanted to give her that older, like mature kind of voice. And let's see, for for Danny, like, a lot of people don't really know who Danny is, but that's technically his name. You hear him in a little blurb I believe in, like, one of the puzzle areas. I think it's the, like, head, shoulders, knees, and toes part right before Harley Sawyer, and he's kinda like, "Do you think they'll like me, Doctor White? Like, the people who adopted me?" He is basically just a little guy. He's one of the kids that the scientist and the doctors experimented on. So I wanted to give him definitely make him sound like a younger boy character. Let's see, the prototype, of course. For that specific part, they were wanting a more motherly kind of vibe. So the parts that you can hear me in that specific part towards the end was like, oh man, I hope I can remember it. I don't know if I'll be able to remember the exact line, but it's
Mhm.
like, "Don't think you can get away," or like, "Don't do this," kinda thing, where it's very, like, reprimanding in a way and almost, like, condescending.
Okay.
But yeah, so you have, like, a big sister kinda teenager voice, and then you've got a little boy voice, and then you've got a motherly kind of vibe.
I am not gonna lie. When I first played Chapter 4, I beta tested for it. When I heard your voice specifically as BoogieBot, I'm probably in like the 1%, but I freaked out. I was
Aw,
n I was not expecting a BoogieBot to have a voice, and I heard you and
yeah.
I was going crazy.
Oh, the crazy thing too is that when I was recording for Scout, I had no idea what toy they were gonna be. So to see that it was a Boogie Bot, I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's so cute."
The fact that you said that she was supposed to be like the big sister thing, that's what I'm stuck on right now. That's very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, she's a very interesting character. I really hope that they do more with her or do more with just Boogie Bots in general.
Agreed. I had a very similar reaction because Smirks was actually watching me when I played it when they gave us early access. And when we
Ooh,
got
yeah.
to that scene and I heard the Boogie Bot speak, like my head turned around immediately and I was looking at it and my jaw dropped. I'm like,
Oh,
it said words. I was so excited.
it
Just
can talk.
well, because we don't really have like I mean the previous chapters two, even three, like, they don't have any
Yeah.
of the original toys that they created for these games speaking in type of
Yeah.
roles. So having that in the fourth chapter, I think it was great. I would have loved to have seen some more original toys talking, but what we
I
got,
know.
I'll take it.
Yeah. It was really great.
So, what would you say was the most challenging aspect of voicing these characters in a horror themed game?
Ooh, I think I already know what I'm gonna say. I think so as you can probably tell, I voice a lot of, like, energetic and quirky and, like, very, like, happy-go-lucky characters.
Hmm.
And so, for this game, it was definitely a challenge because before this, I haven't had a ton of experience with horror stuff. So, even during the session, they were like, "Okay, Maggie, you have a very bright voice, but we really need you to, like, really just, like, tone it down and just, like, imagine like, you're in this crazy world of, like, torture and just all of this horrible stuff and, like, really just like, ground yourself." And so that was definitely a little bit of a challenge for me, but I think, like, with the direction and with the definitely a couple of takes, I think I was able to do a pretty well job, but I love voicing in horror stuff. It's so much fun. I love getting to do the crazy horror and, like, realistic kinda stuff.
I love that because it's always great when you find uh, a creative person who is very bright and bubbly.
Yeah.
Someone would probably say my personality sometimes comes across as very much rainbow sunshines, butterflies, and cupcakes.
Mhm.
But you could find me hanging out in a graveyard because I'm like, this is my element. I'm happy here. But like, no, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that because we need more people like that in the horror space.
Definitely.
How did you prepare for the emotional intensity required for some of the scenes in Poppy Playtime?
Yeah. So something that helps me with just emotionally intense scenes in general is I like to try and think of a time, maybe something similar, or maybe just another character that's been through something similar that these characters have. And I really try to just feel what they're feeling and put myself into their point of view or into their perspectives. And so I think for Scout, I actually am a big sister. I'm the oldest of let's see, 6 other kids. And so I feel like I definitely have that experience as a big sister or as like a caretaker kind of person. So and then like to feel like oh no, like what would happen if this horrible thing happened to one of my siblings, or like what would happen if this horrible thing happens to somebody that I know or and like really care about. And then yeah, I would just try and picture like how that would feel.
That's really cool, especially this chapter. It's very emotional.
Very
It's very
yeah.
intense.
Very dark.
So, were there any particular inspirations or references you drew upon for your characters in this game? Like, for example, you were talking about Danny, for example. What kind of references helped you come up with that voice?
Ooh, this one's kind of an interesting one because unless people provide me with like voice references to go off of, I actually try and come up with the voices myself. Like I a lot of the times for like a lot of the characters I play, I for the most part am either using a voice that's similar to my own or I'll just kind of make it up on the spot. But like, yeah, I the thing is I can't really think of anybody specific, like any specific characters that I drew inspiration from, at least for these characters. But like, I definitely took like the archetype or the idea, like the big sister kind of vibe or the motherly vibe. And I took like all of those, like, let's see, what does a mother have or like what is a mother like, and then I would take like all those qualities and I would try to use that in my performance, if that makes sense.
It absolutely makes sense.
I find it very interesting that you were given, the prompt for a character to, sort of come off motherly, and then there's literally Mommy Longlegs with Elsie
Yeah,
Lovebog, who was probably also given that same sort of prompt, but in a very different way.
definitely, and that's what's so cool too is that like you could literally just say mother, and then like all these different actors would have different perspectives or different like ideas of how to bring that mother to life. And same with big sister, same with little boy, like there are so many different types.
Yeah, I find that's really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
So, can you describe a memorable or favorite moment from your recording sessions for Poppy Playtime Chapter 4?
Ooh. I think I think it was with Isaac? Is Isaac the past writer?
Yes, the
Yeah.
direct.
Yes, and yeah, and the director. Um, so during the recording session, he was actually there too, and I think it was after I was delivering for yeah, it was after I was delivering for one of the characters, and the way that I read it, he was like, "That's exactly what I was looking for," and, like, he was just really happy of my really, like, pleased with my performance, and that just made me really happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think too, I was just so excited about the whole thing. Like, I've been a fan of Poppy Playtime since the very beginning. And so to not like know exactly what these characters were going to look like, or like for Scout, I had no idea what toy she was going to be until the game came out. And just to kind of like imagine and to be like, oh my gosh, like this is a game that I've been obsessed with since it came out, and, like, I'm actually voicing in it, like, holy heck. And I was just I think the whole recording session was just so much fun.
Sorry, my phone has been ringing.
Oh, no.
Throw it across the room or something.
See, I try that, but it just magically reappears on my desk.
Man.
I blame Apple. Find My iPhone has just gotten too good. How did you collaborate with the game's directors or developers to bring authenticity to your characters?
Yeah. So so let's see. Really just listening to their direction and really just trying to bring the image that they had in mind for the characters or for the game because I honestly had no idea what was going to happen with chapter 4. Like I had a few ideas based off of how chapter 3 ended, but you like when you're in a recording session, you really just have to listen to their direction and trust that they know like what they're doing because they do. They're the directors and the writers and like they've been working on this and they know like a lot more than you do. And so you kind of just have to go with the flow and trust that even if you might not be the biggest fan of your performance or might not like maybe there's a specific way that you want to deliver a line and but maybe that's not what they had in mind. So you just got to trust the whole process.
This is very true.
Yeah.
What has been the fan reaction to your roles in Poppy Playtime, and how has it impacted you?
It's been so great. Especially with Scout, the little boogie bot. Like you're not the only one, Smirks, because I've seen the whole like boogie bot fandom and it's been great. Like so many people love boogie bots and it just makes me so happy. And even with the prototype, like it's been so cool to see everybody's reaction to the prototype and especially watching all of the gameplays and seeing everybody's reactions. It's been my favorite part.
Hopefully, we can get more Scout and she like secretly survived because it'd be nice to see you
I
in game
hope
again.
so. I really hope so.
So the horror genre relies heavily on sound to build tension. How did you ensure your performances contributed effectively to the game's atmosphere?
Ooh, that's a great question. So so my favorite thing to do with like very tense scenes and very like tense moments is you get very quiet and like almost whispery like so you kind of draw people in and then you go boom or then you go louder and it really like jump scares people. It really surprises them. And you really like what you got to do is you really got to play you got to imagine like and this is where I said earlier where I'm very much, like, in tune with music is sometimes I'll imagine the music in my head, like, what's going on in the scene, and I'll try to act based on, like, what I feel would be playing in the background. I know it's kinda weird.
That is not weird at all because I have my own soundtrack in my brain playing at all times.
Nice.
It's actually kind of cool. You have your own personal like mental build up to the moment.
Exactly.
If given the opportunity, would you like to continue voicing characters in future installments of Poppy Playtime?
Yes. Absolutely, 100,000,000%. That would be amazing. I love Poppy Playtime so much.
What would be some other characters you'd want to voice possibly?
Ooh. Hmm. I mean, I think it would be cool to voice Kissy if she ever did get a voice,
Mhm.
but I don't know if that'll happen because like I don't know. Unless it's more of a like she's been refusing to talk or she just like hasn't wanted to talk kind of situation or she's just like physically unable to talk. So, I'm not sure. But I don't know. Cuz the thing is too is that they're always adding in new characters as well.
Mhm.
So I guess just whoever they think I would fit the best. I
I could see
don't
you as
know.
Kissy. I could see you as Kissy. I could also see you playing Baba Chops as well.
Oh, I love Baba. She's so cute. Little emo sheep.
It's actually had me thinking if, even at this point in the story, if Prototype will still be using the Ollie voice from this point forward.
Oh, that's actually a really great question. Cause yeah, I don't think he would need to unless he like wanted to torment Poppy in some way.
I would kind of like to see that. I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
Poppy Playtime is being made into a movie, which all of us partners in crime and fans are excited for. Tell me, if you were given the opportunity, would you voice a character in the movie or appear in person, maybe?
Honestly, both. So, I've always been kind of a chicken when it comes to, like, live action kind of stuff,
Hmm.
but recently I've been wanting to get more into mocap and even, like, live action stuff. And to be honest, I do get kind of, like, embarrassed when I'm on camera and stuff, which is why I am a voice actor. But I think it would be so cool to just do even if I was just a background character or somebody that dies, like, I would love to, like, make a little appearance.
I'm manifesting this for you. It'll happen.
Aw, thanks.
I just want so many, like, just be that one person just like points at the screen every 2 seconds. I know them.
Yeah, that would be so cool, and I'm so excited for the movie too.
I really wonder what it's gonna be like. There's so many ways they could do this.
True, and the team is so talented too, like, they could do, they're probably I feel like they would probably do a mix of, like, maybe 3D animation, definitely, like, maybe even I wonder if they would do, like I don't know if they're called, like, puppets or if they're like, the full bodysuit kinda things?
Hmm.
Yeah, like, I wonder if they'll do something like that, or maybe even, like, animatronics. I don't know.
I wonder if
It's
they could. Just Huggy's so dang big.
I know. Or they could do, like, a person on stilts or something.
Oh, I would watch that completely.
I would get thrown off set because I'd chase after them wanting a hug and they'd fall off their stilts.
I know.
Oh God, how is that gonna work in the vent?
Oh, shoot.
Gotta
That
try
would
to-
probably be CGI.
Yeah.
You imagine this poor guy in a Huggy suit trying to cram himself into a vent with wearing stilts.
Oh, boy.
You know what? It actually looked like a real struggle. They should do it.
Yeah.
So, you voice characters in various medias, including video games like Honkai Star Rail and animations like Magic Mixies. Do you have a favorite project or character you've worked on?
Oh, goodness. I don't know if I can choose a favorite, but Poppy Playtime, for sure, is definitely up there. But it's just so hard because I love everybody, like, I love all my characters and all the projects I work on. I don't know. Can I say all of them?
I think that's fair. You do have a lot.
Yeah, it's hard to choose.
How does your background in choir and musical theater influence your approach to voice acting?
Yeah. So choir and musical theater for sure. Well, choir, I think definitely helped with vocal control. Because in choir, even just like singing in general and acting too with musical theater, you learn how to make your voice move and like sound in a certain way. And so I think definitely having that background in choir and musical theater helps. And especially like even now because I still have to do singing from time to time, or I still get to do singing from time to time. And having that background definitely helps. Both both are really good to have, and they're very, very especially when it comes to having vocal control.
Can you discuss any unique challenges you faced as a remote, non union voiceover artist, and how did you overcome them?
Oh, yeah. So, being a remote non-union voiceover artist can definitely be tricky sometimes. You you've kind of gotta become your own, like, agent in a way, because you gotta especially at first, you gotta go out there and, like, even I would say, like, ongoing, you really need to be, like, on top of things, you gotta stay organized, you gotta do that research and go and find all of those auditions and opportunities yourself, and don't get me wrong, you can get an actual agent. It's just a little tricky, especially if you're a remote non-union voiceover artist. I would say the first step that you wanna do is definitely take some classes, and then once you feel comfortable enough and you feel ready, then you wanna probably move on to making a demo reel. Because once you have a demo reel, then you can start submitting to all kinds of projects, kinda like Poppy Playtime when they made that post. So so it's definitely knowing where to look, And definitely making sure that you have a good online, like, social media presence. Because directors and clients are gonna look at your social medias, and they can make, like, yes or no decisions based on that. So you always wanna make sure that you're, like, saying positive things and that you're being a respectful and kind person. And, of course, just doing the work and, staying busy.
Gotta respect the voice acting hustle.
Yeah,
For real. I
for real.
they say that voice acting, the true job is all the auditions you're doing. And then at one point you're lucky and you get one, but like doing the auditions and staying on top of that hustle, it can be a challenge sometimes.
Definitely. And that's where balancing really comes into mind too, is that, like, some people are not just voice actors, but they also work, like, part-time or full-time jobs. And so finding that balance is super important because if you work too hard in one area, then you're gonna get overwhelmed, and that's not good.
Agreed. Hi, it's me, also full-time worker, part-time voice over artist.
Yeah, the struggle is real for sure.
It is.
Don't worry, Tibbers, I'll be your agent.
You're
And
hired.
hey, that's totally a thing that you can do too, is I'm kind of an agent for my spouse. I'll kinda go and, like, if I ever see an audition that I think would fit her, I'll go and, like, send it her way, or yeah, just, like, keep an eye out for stuff for friends too.
Smirks does the same thing actually. You just sent me an audition for
I
something.
did. I was hired
Nice.
before you hired me.
Aw, good job.
Yes, here's a
Thank you.
cookie. So, what is your process for developing distinct voices for different characters across various genres? And just for example, for me, somewhat consider myself a method actor. I like to really get in a headspace, especially when it comes to creating voices. And there was an audition that I did that I didn't end up getting because I screwed up the audition, but they wanted to pick me so bad. But it's okay because I
Aw.
just submitted it in the incorrect format. But
Oh.
it was a for villain, and honestly, playing villain
Ooh.
roles are the best. And for this role, I wanted to really get inside this character's head, and I was really trying to think what would they sound like. And I was inspired by a Saturday Night Live short with Kate McKinnon playing Pennywise, but it was Kelly Wise, the clown. And I took inspiration
Oh,
from that voice that she did to create this character's voice, and that's kind of the general idea of this question.
dang. Yeah, honestly, I would say kind of the same thing. So I know something that helps me a lot is when people include voice references. So that way I kind of know what to aim for instead of guessing. But sometimes you're not going to get those references. And so you kind of have to research yourself and like experiment yourself. So, yeah, no, I'd say what I do is very similar to what you do. A lot of the times they'll give you like certain character specs, like with their personality and maybe a little bit of their backstory. And so usually what I'll do is I'll try and like think of a character that's kind of similar, but then I'll add my own twist to it.
This is pretty much the same way.
Yeah.
Because even still, you might get a character and you come up with an idea for it, and then you get handed a sheet later on that gives you maybe a reference. But sometimes that reference does not match what you think the character should be, and then you work with
Yeah.
the directors and hash that out with them. But yeah, I think that exploring it before you get right into it really does help because it helps you manifest the character that you want to be.
Definitely.
Are there any other particular roles or genres you aspire to work in that you haven't explored yet?
Honestly, I just want to voice in more horror games, yo. Like, I just horror games and thriller games are so much fun, and my spouse can attest to this, but we always put on, like, horror gameplays and or, like, thriller stuff right before bed, which is a terrible idea, I know, but I love watching horror games, and, like, I personally myself, like, I'm kind of too much of a chicken to play them myself, but I love voicing and scary stuff because I'm not really a scary person and I don't really get to be scary a lot. So it's fun to like play I guess like try that side, like experiment with that side of things.
I am in full support over watching scary things just before bed.
Same.
I think I'm actually numb to it at this point, but like,
Yeah.
you keep mentioning like, you're not a scary person or you don't have like that, sort of persona, but that's actually, if you think about it, it kind of adds to the uncanny aspect of it because you're out of
Yeah.
place and everything in horror is something that, kind of throws you out of your element and like the unsuspected it becomes the scariest thing. So like you fit right in.
That's very true.
Any favorite horror games?
Ooh, besides Poppy Playtime, I've always been a fan of FNAF as well. So
That's
I
a
do
big one.
think, yeah, I do think it'd be really cool. I do think it'd be really cool to voice in a FNAF game someday. But like, I'm down for literally anything.
Well, hopefully they make another game on par with Security Breach that has a bunch of characters. You'd definitely be awesome in that.
Oh, thanks. But yeah, I think I'm just a huge fan of mascot horrors.
Me
Some pretty good
too.
ones out there.
So, how do you maintain vocal health and versatility given the demands of your profession?
This one is very important to know. Definitely staying on top of drinking water. That is always super important. And then I actually have this little thingamajigger it's called the Beekeeper's Naturals. It's like an immune support daily throat spray. And I actually highly recommend it because it it is literally a life changer. But basically what you do is right before going into a recording session and even during a recording session or whenever you're going to do something like very intense or very like vocally demanding, you basically spray this into your mouth and it's supposed to like coat the back of your throat with this sort of like protection so you don't like tear your vocal cords.
And is it the immune support one, daily throat spray?
Yeah, it's like a yellow looking one. I can send you a picture later. But yeah, I highly recommend it. It's come in handy so many times.
Making a note of this.
And then also definitely just try not to overwork your voice and that can be hard sometimes, especially if you're like on the audition grind or just have a lot of like recording to do. But definitely take breaks when you can and definitely water is super important. And then also if you drink tea, I would highly recommend drinking some like throat coat teas, or I know like some herbal teas can be really good, but something not milk because dairy is actually not the best for your throat, but definitely something like warm that kind of helps open up your vocal cords so you can like relax and not injure yourself when you're voicing.
All good
That is
tips.
actually, yeah, that's so helpful.
I got you.
Well, hopefully that'll definitely come in handy for people who, need help with their little voice acting endeavors and they're
Yeah.
straining themselves so much.
Yeah. Definitely good stuff to know. I know I wish I had known this stuff like when I first started out.
So, can you share an experience where you had to adapt quickly during a recording session?
Oh yeah. So definitely actually I would say the Poppy Playtime one for sure because I went into the whole thing thinking it was an audition, but nope. So like kind of adapting from like, okay, this is an audition. How can I impress them? To going like, oh wait, I'm already in the game. Wow. To being like, okay, how can I still impress them? And but I feel like one of the biggest, like, craziest sessions that I've ever had was, I had a recording session for a couple of characters, and I was expecting them to give me a script, but when I go into the recording session, they're like, "Oh, yeah, this is an improv session. You're gonna be making everything up." And I was like, "Oh, dang. Alright then."
I just threw you to the wolves.
Yeah, but that session was so much fun. It was just so unexpected. I definitely need to do some more improv.
So, what advice would you give to aspiring voice actors looking to break into the industry?
I would say, besides everything I said before, definitely definitely just don't be afraid to be silly, and because that's acting for you. You're gonna voice some of the strangest characters, but people are gonna love them, and as long as you're just having fun, that's the most important part. I'd say that's probably the biggest thing. Like, just don't be afraid. Just have fun. Don't be afraid to make mistakes too, because especially if you're new, like no one's gonna hate you, or no one's gonna like be mad at you for making a mistake, or they shouldn't. Especially if you're still like starting out and still learning. And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Exactly. My DMs are always open if anyone ever has questions about voice acting, including equipment, because I know that's a lot of people's concerns as well. As well, I need a really good setup. You don't necessarily need to have the best setup to be a voice actor.
Mhm.
How do you see the future of voice acting evolving, especially with advancements in technology and changes in the entertainment industry?
Oh boy. This one, I guess the first thing that comes to mind for me would be all of the crazy AI stuff. Personally, I really don't see AI going anywhere. Yes, they can improve it to a degree, but like you can only do so much. And humans are just so much more capable. Like they're always improving and always learning. And there's so many things that human voice actors can do that AI can't. I mean, for one, like human VAs are just so much more like they have so much more emotion. And you get stuff like breathing and laughs and like all kinds of like stuff on the side that AI really can't do. So personally, I don't really see AI going anywhere. Honestly, they're just so limited in what they can do. So, to be honest, I'm personally not too worried about AI. And like yes, like and this is where it's so important to cuz I know there's a huge strike going on right now with the SAG-AFTRA video game strike, and so many games are having to like post patches and like upload stuff without voiceover because voice actors a lot of them are on strike because like we're just really trying to fight against AI as much as we can because I don't know about you, but I get so tired of seeing and hearing AI ads and stuff.
Oh yeah, they're obnoxious.
Yeah, and I honestly don't see why like I just don't understand like why would people enjoy that kind of stuff? Like it just sounds so bland and like so like emotionless. You know, and I'm sorry. I feel like I'm going off on a tangent.
No, it's fine.
But it's just I mean, personally, I'm not too worried about all of the AI stuff. The like voiceover industry is always going to be changing and adapting, and that's okay because that's everything. I think as long as you keep doing what you're doing and keep having fun and keep on doing what makes you stand out and what makes you unique, I think everybody should be fine.
You actually just reminded me of a game that did something really, really weird. It was popular for, I think, a time, but like, I forgot the name of it. Like, there's all sorts of different ways, like, game companies have been handling AI, whether they just straight up use AI voices. But like, this company, what they did was they paid the guy to use his voice and then they synthesized it with an AI. It's like,
Oh,
if
weird.
you paid for his likeness voice wise, why didn't you just pay him to read the lines? You just
Yeah.
added extra steps.
Yeah, that's something that I'll never understand. It's like and then I've heard of also people auditioning for stuff and, like, recording all of these lines and then later getting replaced with AI, and it's so sad.
It is. It's also really funny too how like even when people use AI, it never actually sounds good. So when they
I
start
know.
tweaking it and doing like the actual, like putting in the actual effort to make it sound interesting, it's like, okay, you should have just done that from the
Yeah.
beginning, because it actually turned into something good once you put non-AI effort into it.
Exactly. It's like let humans voice AI, not AI voice humans,
Leave AI
if
to
that
like,
makes sense.
yeah, leave that to Siri and all that stuff. Like, we don't need it like where actual passion needs to be put in, because it's
Yeah,
it helps make the experience way more memorable. It's just it has no AI has literally no soul in every
exactly.
aspect.
For now, until they come up and uprise against us all.
No.
Don't worry, it'll probably be the most boring apocalypse ever.
Okay, so we are now at the outro portion of the interview. We have a couple more questions for you. So, if you could go back in time and have a chat with little Meggie, what would you tell yourself to prepare for the future?
Ooh, goodness. I would for one, I would tell her to keep on taking drama, but honestly, believe it or not, little Maggie was like 1,000 times more awkward than I am now. And so shy. So, I would say don't worry about it. Don't there's no need to worry about what other people think or to to be to feel anxious about these silly things because in the end you love doing these kinds of things. So just enjoy it and just have fun. That's what I would say.
Do you have any other future projects you're currently working on?
Yes. So many. Well, most of them are under NDA, unfortunately.
Oh,
I know, but I mean, I'm always working on little comic dubs and stuff. Like, I'm always doing fun little stuff on the side like that, just to stay keep my acting skills up to date, I guess you could say, and just to keep practicing and try new things.
it's okay. We just know that you've got stuff upcoming and we'll be able to see it
Yeah,
soon.
exactly. It's gonna be cool stuff.
Now, for the last question, Maggie, where can everyone find you on the interwebs?
Literally everywhere. Most of yeah, so you can find me on Twitter/X if you like to call it that. You can call oh, wait, no, not call me. You can find me on LinkedIn, you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on YouTube, you can find me on the TikTok. Yeah, and most of my tags are just like Meggie-Elise or Meggie-Elise VA. So yeah.
Nice.
Sweet. And Smirks, where can everyone else find you on the internet?
Here.
Hey.
You did so well. You did so well. The last one you just went right into it with no problems and you told us where we could find you. But now you're being a stubborn little nerd again.
What? No. Listen, Tibbers, you can find me at Sir Smirks on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. There, happy?
Thank you.
Did it
Yes,
for
I
you.
very much am. And you can have a cookie now.
I don't want it.
Can I have a cookie?
Yes, you can have all the cookies, Maggie. You're great.
Yay!
All right. And before we go, anything else you'd like to add at all, Maggie?
Honestly, just thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. You
Not a
guys are
problem.
awesome.
Oh, we try.
Thank
We
you.
just like the thing is for us with us doing these interviews, we want to give people that are working on games and doing voice acting or even music development, all that fun stuff, just a platform to talk about it and get themselves out there. And I definitely wanted to talk to you. There's other people on the list I want to talk to, and I wanted to make sure that we're able to get your story out there too.
No, well, thank you so much.
Not a problem. Well, thank you for joining us. I truly do appreciate it. Thank you again, Smirks, for joining me as well, you little nerd. But
It's
until
always
next
a
time,
pleasure.
it's always a pleasure. Yes, it is. But until next time, everybody, stay safe out there, make good choices, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.